Pretty interesting title, right? I'm guaranteeing you, after you watch this video, you're going to scale to 11K a month. But I am actually going to guarantee you that you're going to get 100 times closer to hitting your goal revenue, whatever the fuck it is, after you watch this video. Because I'm so confident that this will get you to it, okay? The first thing first, we need to segment our tasks. Because when we're scaling and running a business, there's a lot of shit that's not necessarily going to help us generate cash for the brand. Because cash flow especially is like the oxygen of the brand, okay? Without it, then nothing flows. You're just running a fucking side hobby. If you're not generating cash for your clothing brand, then you either have a hobby or you either have an expensive fucking hobby, okay? So why I'm making this video is I realized the biggest reason why only literally 3% of brands make it to even that 10K a month mark is because of this one thing called clarity, okay? Simplest way to say it, they work on the stuff they need to work on that is going to grow their brand. And there's brand owners that never fucking make it to 10K, whatever it is, they never work on the shit that needs to be worked on. Because either they're fucking stupid, okay? But if you're watching this, you're probably not that stupid, okay? It's just number two is you just have the lack of clarity, okay, on what you actually need to be working on, okay? So, quick little background, okay? We work with PV, scale them from 0 to 10, Flower to hit consistent 100, Pluto from 0 to 25, we help Lonely Track from 0 to 12K a month, 3 months, Anim Sean 1K a month to 33K a month, Society from 15K a month to 65K a month in 2 months, Brimmer from 0 to 10K a month, Ethereal, we help scale from 0 to 5K, Wax 0 to 5K, Motherland Garment 0 to 5K in 3 months, plus many more, okay? If you want to know what we do, all the brands we work with, check out the Instagram page, okay? So, if you're a clothing brand owner anywhere below 11K a month, then you need to be focused on these tasks, okay? So I've laid it out very simple. We have the A plus task, we have the B plus task, and we have the C plus task, okay? So let me explain this to you deeper, okay? A plus tasks are basically the highest leverage task you can be doing as a brand owner. If you're not doing this shit, then stop what the fuck you're doing within your brand and do this shit. Because every successful brand owner that I know and all the clients that have succeeded do this shit, okay? So, number one is building out and learning one acquisition source. Focus on one acquisition source. Like, who do you think you are trying to learn or do TikTok, Pinterest, Google, Meta, all by yourself? Like, you're not that smart, okay? Stick to one, okay? The reason is you probably don't have a big ad budget, right? You probably have, $500, even less, maybe $1,000 a month to spend on ads. We want to be so fucking good at just one acquisition source. The reason is because we can get to that with just one acquisition source. This isn't rocket science. We don't need the combination of 20 fucking different sources to scale to 11K a month. We don't. It's one acquisition source, okay? My favorite is Meta, obviously, if you've seen my content, okay? Number two is branding and profile optimization, especially on Instagram, because that is majority of your ICP, where your ideal customer profile mostly spends their time on, okay? And I didn't put organic marketing here because I truly believe optimizing your profile in terms of the first impression is really important. Because think of it this way, when you go out on a date with a girl, right, it's the same thing with your first impression. How you dress, what you wear, how you smell, what your face looks like, right? That is the first impression you're going to give off on the date. And then you're going to know more about your personality. That's like the organic marketing stuff. But the profile optimization is actually the first, first instance and first touch point where your customer gets to know you. So this is really important, okay? We want to be known as a brand that they can trust and buy from us, okay? Number three is product quality. Your product quality needs to be up par. Like if we're gonna scale this thing and you're actually serious about doing this full time, then your product quality needs to be fucking outstanding. You can't just be like, oh, this is kind of shit, but I want to make some money and just okay, no. Focus on product quality, find the right manufacturers, okay? I'm going to go into this, skipping humanizing the brand for now, but sort of optimizing customer experience, because you need to think about, right, the lifetime value of a customer, right? How the fuck are we going to get people to fucking like your brand, but second will buy from your shit again? Because that is how you actually really fucking easily scale your brand. Having those life loyal customers who just buys from your brand over and over and over and over and over again, okay? So optimizing customer experience, like, bro, like, what the fuck does that mean, okay? You need to think about the shipping time, which I sort of go into. okay? You need to talk about the packaging of, how the product will be received. You need to think about the add to cart, everything in terms of the customer journey from them not fucking knowing your brand to them buying to them receiving your product. That needs to be outstanding, okay? Now, sort of tying in, sorting out shipping time estimation, bro. If your website says 3 days, then ship your product out in 3 days. If your product says next day shipping, then ship your product out next day shipping. This is super important, like especially when you're starting out. We don't want to establish as a brand that doesn't fucking ship out products. Like, that's shit. Okay, we're gonna have a much harder time when scaling because that builds sales objections when we're scaling. You have other people say, oh, this brand doesn't deliver their fucking product. Then what the fuck? Okay. Sort of humanizing the brand. Going back to this touch point, we need to humanize the brand. So find different people, your family, different influencers you may know. Like I'm sure you know some people. Make sure you get content showcasing different faces, and it's not just a bunch of flat lay, shitty mock-ups, and it's just you. Okay, we want to show different faces because that builds a lot of authority and trust as a brand. Okay, number 3 is creative assets. Okay, organic and ads. This is a stage where probably the most important part of the A+ task you've been doing. Right, we need to be building out the creative assets for top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel, same with the ads, okay? Building out specific ad acquisition creatives when we get into it, okay? So, B+ task, okay? This is what I like to call like middle leverage tasks. It is important, but not as important as this. So, if you've done this shit and you think you've done it to the max, run it, right? Obviously, if you've run it, the more you do it, there's gonna be problems, fix it, right? But if you don't, move on to the B+ task, okay? So, this isn't, I wouldn't say, you doing your B+ task is wasting your fucking time, but obviously it's just B+, okay? So number 1 is perfecting website, okay? Optimizing website, everything, right? The thing is, and the reason why I put this in B+, is you need fucking data and number to understand where your bottleneck is with your website. I don't understand when brand owners go and say, I need to make my website better. Like, bro, you haven't even got a single fucking sale, right? You haven't even got, more than 500 traffic in a month. Like, how do you know your website's the problem? Like, I can guarantee you, it is most likely not the problem, right? It's not. Like, someone that's, even getting one customer to buy from your website, it's not website building. That comes at scale, right? So the thing is, it's like so many people, so many new branders are caught up on trying to perfect their website. Like, you need data, right? How do you know your website's the problem, right? Oh, it doesn't look cool, right? Fuck that. Use numbers. Every time you make decisions and optimize your brand, use real numbers, okay? Number 2 is product design. Brand owners try to be too perfect, which I get because they're creative people, stuff like that. I'm not very creative, right? I don't care, right? I'm not really a perfectionist, right? But in terms of product design, again, it sort of comes back to data, right? Not KPIs, but like comes back to customer feedback. How do you know, it's like your design's gonna flop if you don't drop it, right? I'd rather you drop 20 products in a year than one fucking perfect product and you think it's gonna work and it flops. Because the brand owner that's dropped 20 products, they have more data to improve on the fucking design, right? So don't worry too much about that. Number 3 is organic marketing. This is important, but again, branding and profile optimization is important because that ideology I use about the first state, that's way more important. But the main thing is you want to have intent, okay? Which I'm going to go into the C+, okay? This is the stuff where if you're doing, you're wasting your fucking time, and please stop doing it. Okay, just stop doing it. Okay, okay. Let me get into this. Number 1 is high quality. If you're like a new brand and you're making high quality video sales letters and info commercials for your brand, right? Trying to just perfect that and spending your last, obviously if you have a big budget over like $50,000 to spend on it, go for it. But if you're a new brand, I reckon you're young, have a few dollars to spend, to generate cash flow. Why the fuck are you making this? Because you can generate sales without putting so much, high quality professionalism creatives into your brand at the start, because that's not necessarily going to get you the attention, going to get you the eyeballs towards your brand, right? Sort of tying into like these crazy edits where it's like those those graphic design edits, like those are cool, yes, but you can get to it, right, once we generate cash flow. So don't worry too much about that stuff, okay? Like, I find these stuff the biggest waste of time, right? Number 3, this also pisses me off sometimes. Like, when branders trying to find, Instagram influencers with 100K followers, trying to DM them, like, first of all, they're not going to generate any sales. And number 2, micro influencers who are, probably under 10K followers is going to work better for you. Because think about it, the 100K followers, I guarantee you, if you send them DM and they fucking miraculously respond to your 30 follower brand account, right? First of all, they're going to ask you to pay. Number two, they're going to give you like one piece of content for how much you fucking paid because you're a shitty brand and they're here and you're here. And if we try to flip that, where we try to find even like we don't even try to find influencers. We're just trying to find people who are your ICP, obviously. But you know, even like people who has 2,000 followers, 3,000 followers there, and who are just starting getting into the content creator and influencer world, they're going to be far more valuable at the start in terms of bringing value to your brand, because you have to realize that the people that, you know, who's just getting started, they're going to produce more content for you. They're going to do this for free, right? Which all we need for them is provide content assets to sort of going back, humanizing the brand, okay? Number 4, sort of tying to the B+ task, is posting stuff on Instagram just to go viral with no intent and no strategy. That is the biggest waste of time. Imagine like you trying to build a business that's going to generate you 10K a month profit every single month, and it has to rely on your videos going viral. What about the months that you don't go fucking viral? What happens then, right? You're going to find a job, okay? Last one is trying to get more website traffic. This is the biggest time waster. If you have that mindset of you need a certain amount of traffic every single day, then you can just run a traffic campaign for $20 a day and you can do that. But that's not necessarily going to get you sales, okay? That's a waste of time. So in conclusion, please work on the A+ and B+ stuff. Focus on the A+, dial that down, optimize that, and you're going to have a much better chance of scaling, okay? If you have any questions, shoot me a message on Instagram.